I feel bullied.
For everybody who watches this, and I hope people watch this. Uh, it's fair to go on the record that I bullied Mahmoud into doing this podcast. I was just like, "Hey, we're gonna do this. We're gonna talk about this."
I tried to get out of it multiple times.
You tried to postpone it,
He sent me the link and I was in bed and I was like, fine.
dude. It's 4:30.
Dude, my day is just over.
Oh, okay.
That's why.
So,
Therefore, the coffee.
I mean, I had some when I got home. So,
He's
all
like,
right,
Here's the link." I was like, well, wait, I'm gonna need coffee for
hold on.
this.
This is a special edition Ascend Athlete podcast. This is not what we had planned for our next podcast episode. So we'll call this a special programming edition of the Ascend Athlete podcast. And before we jump into this is the first time we've done anything like this. I want to preface this with you and I basically make a living writing workouts and coaching people.
It's not basically, it's just that.
That's literally what we do. Like, and we have done this at every level of the sport for every variation of athlete at this point. So I feel as if we are more than qualified to discuss the following topic in a constructive way.
Right.
Like, this is not, as people will see, there we're going to give our thoughts and our opinions on these things. So last night, the Fittest Experience Invitational dropped their elite team events. And their events, that's for sure. But we have, mostly myself, if I'm going to be full transparent, mostly I have a lot of thoughts about these workouts for testing elite teams. And I know, and I think you would agree with me on this. I think this is good because we haven't actually talked about this very much, and you've seen none of the workouts that I wrote. But I think just because these events, Syndicate Crown and the Fittest Experience, as two examples, are not sending elite teams to the CrossFit Games, I think those elite teams, a lot of the ones going to this, are also the teams that are going to be taking on the online semifinals and potentially trying to go to the CrossFit Games. And I think they deserve a robust in-person event.
Yeah.
So I don't agree that you can use that as a reason to have a lackluster test, so to speak.
Let's just preface that for everybody who doesn't know how the season had changed. So originally teams would go to semifinals in person, and then now this year the CrossFit Games or CrossFit HQ has narrowed that down to just semifinals online for teams.
Correct.
And I think from the events that are hosting the in-person semifinals for individuals decided like, hey, let's also throw a team event, even though it won't lead anywhere, but for them to have some sort of a replacement or an in-person event to compete at.
And it still holds the second highest level of competition in the sport placing for the teams in North America.
It will be like, hey, if you don't make it to the games, you've qualified through the open for this. This is as high as a team would qualify to get there.
Correct. So we're gonna go kind of back and forth through these workouts, and just offer kind of and this is our opinion, obviously. I will say,
if I know Triston, we're probably not going to have the exact same opinion. Like we normally function across opposite sides of the spectrum.
Yeah, and that's part of the reason I didn't tell you anything I wrote, because I want your opinion on obviously what they wrote, what I wrote, what you would do. You could see where I was going and these things. And again, we are not privy to equipment challenges, logistical challenges. we're aware of how many teams they have. They have 48 teams competing. So
Hmm.
you're going to have a decent um, spectrum of athlete, even at that level with 48 teams.
That's about
And
200 athletes.
yeah, and I tried to take that into account as well because I think looking at the workouts, it was clear they were trying to do that as well. So I tried to do that, but still create a little bit of flair and elite, variation of the workouts and some separation. So, all right. So let's jump into this. Everybody forgive me for my screen sharing abilities if this is a little clanky, but this is kind of just the best we got. So, TFX Invitational Team Event 1. We have 4 time with a 12-minute time cap. Male 1, 15 snatches at 185 pounds. Female 1, 15 snatches at 125 pounds. Male 2, 15 clean and jerks at 225 pounds. And female 2, 15 clean and jerks at 155 pounds. So, Mahmoud, I know you've seen these workouts. I know we kind of discussed them a little bit briefly, but what is your first blush thought at this workout for a elite competition, elite teams of 4, or a
I
barbell?
honestly, I like the format of go
Mhm.
as fast as you can for 15 reps,
Right.
right? But I will say, I probably, you probably will agree with me on that. Like, why is it not the same weights as the individual?
Yes. So
Like,
obviously the individuals are mandating, they have a mandated heavy Isabel 225 for men, 155 for women, 30 snatches, right?
mhm.
So we
So
have
I
like
would
this
say like
variation.
this could have been a 10 snatch, 10 snatch, 10 clean and jerk, 30 clean and jerk. Well, what is it called? 225, 155, and then
Mhm.
275, 185.
Sure. So I think again, this is a guess, an assumption. Damn me. I think the reason they have those lighter bars, those first 2, and even the clean and jerk weight is not very heavy, is to accommodate a diverse field of athletes. Because there will probably, with 48 teams, there's more than likely athletes going who will just not be able to snatch 225, 155 repeatedly. Right.
So uh, this is probably going to offend a lot of people, but whatever. Um, you and I have talked about how the leaderboard in the East is completely different than the West.
Yeah, well, it's exponentially harder.
Do you think that played a role in why the difference between Syndicate Crown programming and TFX programming is kind of different when it comes to testing elite teams at that level?
I don't know. Potentially, I think the number of teams going, therefore the capacity of the teams going, probably played more of a factor. Now, Syndicate did backfill to a large degree. I know that, and they ended up opening kind of registration up, but their intention was to have the 30 best teams, and then those spots get backfilled as as happens. Whereas I know TFX, I just think they're potentially, if I had to guess, they're taking in mind like the variance in athlete ability really once you start to get out probably outside of the top 25 to 30, all the way
So
down to 48th.
if we're looking at the 48 teams, that is, if I will, sorry, allow me to do quick math, that is 20% of the teams signed up.
Yeah, that's a lot.
That is a lot. So basically, um, it's a lot. I want to try and see what it is in the East real quick. You said they took 30 teams?
I believe so, yeah. Well, yeah, they'll have 30 teams on the roster. They ended up backfilling further down from the
Yeah.
open, but yeah,
So their standard would allow for about 10% to go. That's a big difference.
yes.
That is a big, and a lot more competitive when it comes to also the effect of each workout individually speaking.
Right. So that's kind of that led me to my thought of, okay, I think that's why these weights and reps seem a little bit light, especially for a 12-minute time cap.
That's fair.
Right. Okay.
Now let me ask you this.
Yep.
Sorry, if
Go ahead.
that's, I just want to make it kind of more of a discussion. Do you think if they had bundled up male female or male male snatch 30 snatches, and then female female or male female 30 clean and jerks, would that have made the workout more team oriented, less team
Mhm.
oriented, better test, less test, or
I would have liked that with it being a little bit more team oriented, like you're just working with your partner, even if you're trading singles.
Mhm.
So you're on a track that I think will be good here. So let me show you. So I rewrote this event as follows. 12-minute cap, I kept all the caps the same and I tried to change as little as possible. So I wrote male female pair, 15 ground to overhead at 185, 125. Pair 1. Male female pair 2, 15 ground to overhead at 205, 135. Male female pair 1 again, 15 ground to overhead at 225, 155. Male female pair 2, 15 ground to overhead at 245, 165. So my intention with this was to create a structure, obviously similar to what they had wanted, but this, with it being ground to overhead allows the higher tier elite athletes, like the really competitive top 10 teams, to touch and go those first couple bars, maybe do quick singles on the snatches or quick singles on snatches, some
if
touch and
they
go
choose
clean
to
and jerk,
snatch, yeah. Mhm.
whatever. Right? They have the option. And then we see a little bit of a ascending weight progression to allow some strength separation, because like this is not a raw strength test, but if you are stronger, 245, 165, 225, 155 is a hell of a lot easier,
Mhm.
right? But it's still that you have that ground to overhead option. So if there are athletes who are a little bit, just not as strong as the top 10 teams and they're in the bottom 10, the 40 to 48 or 38 to 48, they can move through this workout still and
Mhm.
get a hell of a test. And they can do so with clean and jerks.
Right.
And there's a little bit just more of a team cohesion with the male female pairs. Yes, it's an odd number of total repetition or of reps per pair. I know that bugs a lot of people. I usually don't care. Sue me. Somebody can do an extra rep and then catch them on the back end.
I
So
will. I will attest that that's not true. He usually does care very deeply, but he tried to stick with the numbers.
I was trying to stick with those. Well, like people will get mad at me if I write like 45 dumbbell snatches. And I'm like,
Right.
I don't care about the extra rep on one arm. Get over it.
But if he writes
Um,
45, it'll be 45 and 9, not 45 and 10.
yeah, no, you cannot do that. That will drive me nuts. So this is what I would have. This just allows, in my opinion, a little bit more separation. There's a little bit more teamwork involved because it's split per pair. You can have the guy go 3, the girl go 1. Like if the guy in male female pair 1 is going to struggle with the 225 bar, but the girl is going to be able to rock 155, maybe he does a couple more of those first bars at 185, 125.
Mhm.
Right? Like it just allowed
Doesn't have to
for
be
a
even.
right. It's just ground to overhead, 15 per pair, get her done, 12 minutes. Right?
And I think that also, like, hey, which pair is gonna go when?
Yeah,
So that
exactly.
allows for some
Some
str-
strategy.
exactly.
Exactly. Yep. So that was kind of my spin on event 1. I just think this elevates that test a little bit.
Mhm.
So, all right, popping back over here. This is where my screen abilities are going to get tested. Event 2. Oh, this is hard to fit in one screen. Okay, there we go. So we have. I'm going to read this. I know that's a little bit small. Let me see if I can make it bigger. There we go. Male pair 1, 50 synchro wall balls, 50 calorie row split. Female pair, 50 alternating box jump overs, 40 cal echo bike split. Then male pair, 50 calorie echo bike split, 50 alternating box jump overs. Female pair, 40 calorie row split, 50 synchro wall balls. I could not find anywhere the load or height. So I made the educated guess that it is a standard 20 and 14-pound ball and a standard 20 and 20 or 24 and 20-inch box. So again, a relay workout. So it's 2 relay workouts in a row. Some synchro work with the wall balls. 50 wall balls is really not a lot. There is a decent bit of squatting in the rest of the events. So take that as it is. 50 alternating box jump or burpee box jump overs. It's a little bit of work. 50 alternating burpee box jump overs does kind of get clunky in for the athlete flow sometimes. So that kind of stuck out to me. And then we have the row and the echo bike. The only thing really notable there is the echo bike makes another appearance. So the echo bike is in 2 tests. So what are your thoughts on this piece? It's relatively straightforward. It's a 9-minute time cap?
Mm-hmm.
Yes, 9-minute time cap. So what are your thoughts on this workout, just as written? This one was one for me personally where I was kind of like, okay,
It's
like
fitness.
it's gonna hurt.
It's just not. I feel like it's not long enough to hurt as much. Here's the thing. I'm gonna probably throw a curveball towards you. What if this was a 30-pound wall ball and a 30-inch box jump overs?
It's fine.
Does that
I would
elevate the test?
absolutely. Absolutely. If it's a 30-pound ball and a 20-pound ball and a 30 and 24-inch box, I think that
No, like 30-inch box for both.
oh, then I love that. Yeah,
Right.
that's very difficult.
Right. So I think that like I want to give them the benefit of the doubt that it might not be as simple as it seems.
Yep. Yep, for sure.
I would love that. Again, like not
What is
not
this
really
about?
for my athletes, but I would love that from a tester point of view. Um,
Sure. And I guess one disclaimer, I don't have any athletes doing the elite team division.
I have
Like
one team.
you do. I do not. And just I am a big fan of like keeping like when if I have athletes going and doing the tests, I'm not gonna voice my opinion about the test until it's over. Like when they release the individual workouts, you will not hear a peep from me
That's
because
that's
it's
that's where the bullying happens.
you're the only guy I have. I would if you were gonna do it, I was gonna do it solo.
Fire.
I was literally just gonna do it myself. So, but that's why I did the workouts and not you,
Right.
right? So yeah, if this is a heavy ball and this is a tall box, I don't really touch it other than the one change you'll see when I flip the screen.
If I were to make a change, and if I assume that it's a 30-pound and a 30-inch, the only change would be 50-calorie row and 50-calorie bike at the same time.
Sure. So
I
did
think that's
something
why
like
you
that.
did that. Yeah.
I did something like that. You'll see. You'll see. So, okay. So let's pop open my variation of this. Event 2, 9-minute time cap. Male pair, sorry. 50 cal echo bike split, 50 synchro wall balls. I can I share both these screens at the same time? No, okay. So they have the men doing the synchro wall balls before their cardio apparatus,
Mhm.
and then the women doing it after. And I kind of liked it the other way. I would rather see the men hammer the bike and then just hold on for dear life on the wall balls.
Mhm.
And then the ladies get through the wall balls and then really have to push it on the bike. So I did that intentionally. So we have 50 cal bike, 50 synchro wall balls, female pair, 40 box jump overs. I put tall bike or a tall box, 24 inches split, and then a 40 cal echo bike. So they have to get through the bike with a little bit of cooked legs.
Mhm.
And then we have the men going bike again, box jump overs, females, wall balls into the bike. So I kept the order for the men and women in terms of the bike and the movement.
Mhm.
And this to me from a programming perspective is yes, I 100% am trying to bait the men to put themselves in an absolute slugfest
Why did you remove the rowing?
because I used it in another workout.
Okay.
Because they had the echo bike twice and I did not program the echo bike twice.
Okay. So you just used each machine one event.
Correct.
Gotcha.
So, so like I said, I didn't really do a lot to this. Like this is it's like it's a good work capacity test to me. I just
Mhm.
added a tall box, kind of mandated the wall ball loads, and then just kind of played with the machines a little bit. So,
Yeah.
all right. Moving right along here. We have event 3. 16-minute time cap. 4 rope climbs per person, 15 foot, 27 worm thrusters. 3 rope climbs per person, 21 worm thrusters. 2 rope climbs, 15. 1 rope climb, 9. I don't mind this workout, except for one thing, which you will guess very easily, and then we will probably just discuss my variation of. But this is not a bad test in my opinion. Save one thing.
Oh, you want it legless?
Absolutely. Is,
Can I don't mind legless. I would remove the constraint that it's 4 4 4 4.
so we'll
Put the
just
total number. Put 16.
so let's hold on. So let's just go right along here.
Yep.
For time, 8 legless rope climbs, 27 worm thrusters, 7, 21, 6, 15, 5, 9. Legless rope climbs are split as desired.
Yep.
That's it.
And I would say each athlete should do one.
Yes. If I had the time, I obviously didn't write a full flow for all of
Right.
these. These came out last night.
Right.
It's 4:00 right now. The next day, we were at the gym working and all these things. But yeah, so each athlete would definitely need to do one. We have 26 total legless rope climbs, 72 worm thrusters, 16-minute time cap. This is still more than doable.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, like there are this is the first workout with the variation I wrote where there are probably teams in, if we're taking 48 teams, that are going to really struggle with this workout. And that's okay.
Yeah.
This is the biggest competition for the teams in the Western Hemisphere of North America.
Mm-hmm.
If I was the programmer, I'm okay with you struggling a little bit.
Right.
Like it's okay. And then for the best teams, this is gonna hurt.
Yeah, this is gonna be. They're gonna fight it out.
Yep, 100%. So, like I said, the structure, the thought, vertical pull, squat, a little bit of overhead with the worm thruster. I loved that they went 27, 21, 15, 9 with the worm thruster. I think 21, 15, 9 is just not enough
Mm-hmm.
to get like a leg endurance fitness separator.
Mm-hmm.
But I just couldn't not with the legless. And there is a workout they have that is you have toe to bar in their event 6, and in my opinion as a programmer, toe to bar and rope climbs are basically the same movement.
Mm-hmm.
So,
I was gonna say maybe another direction is to go like synchro partner chest to bar on this workout.
Could absolutely do that. There's no other vertical pulling movement other than ring muscle ups with their version.
Gotcha.
So yes, you could definitely do some chest to bar here.
Like if they wanted to be more accessible, you could just do 27 27, 21 21, 15 15, 9 9, and it's partner synchro split however you need to.
Yeah, pair synchro, 100%. Yeah. Or you could double maybe not double, but you could go like
1.5.
1.5, 3 people hold the worm, 1 person working through the chest to bar at a time. That makes it a wolf test too,
Yeah.
right? Like,
And
I
like
didn't,
from a spectator point of view too, like people, it's a breath holder.
right. And this is not like you hold the worm. I didn't do any of that with this.
Yeah.
This is just good old fashioned team fitness. How quick can you transition? How good's your game plan? How quickly can you move that worm? Obviously, if I knew the floor, I would say they're moving it forward every section, all that dumb stuff. But yeah, I think this would add a lot again to the test for the elite, the top of the field. And again, this is the first time where I'm kind of like, okay, if you struggle with this a little bit.
Right.
All right. All right. Rolling right along here. Let's see. Workout 4. 4 rounds. Relay style workout again. 30 double dumbbell ground to overhead. 50 and 35 pounds, 30 and 22 calorie echo bike, 60 fat rope jumps. You go first.
I just don't like the fat rope.
Okay. Glad we
Like
got that out of the way.
I,
Very.
I don't like it in general.
I just don't like it in professional-ish level fitness testing.
At this point, I'd rather you do sled pulls if it's about the
I
fat rope.
sled pulls, skier, Zeus, drag, a shitload of regular double unders,
Crossover single unders.
crossover single under. Yeah, I'm with you, and we've talked about this before. It's not to say that it doesn't test things. It makes the jump very hard, especially when your legs are fatigued. I'm sure that's partly what they were going for because this is a little bit of a sprint. So your legs are going to be juiced off of the bike. We do have the bike yet again. But I like Mahmoud and I both just
I
don't
think
really love the workout.
what this is just like people spend time developing skills in the gym,
Mm-hmm.
test them.
Exactly. 100%.
That's it. Like we're not saying the fat rope doesn't test fitness, but people spend time and money developing skills in the gym, and that separates people. Use that.
Yes. Yes. Okay. So I changed this workout a lot. I didn't really like the ground to overhead because obviously after I changed event one, we already had a ground to overhead. And also it's worth noting everyone who goes to this event is going to just double dumbbell snatch.
Mhm.
Like they're not, I don't know many people who are going to clean and jerk that. Maybe they clean and jerk the last couple, but
I mean, I'm not gonna toot my own horn, but I did that at Katy Classic or whatever. Bring the heat,
exactly. So again,
and I'm the
elite event.
fittest skilled athlete you'll ever see.
Okay. So I kept the time cap the same. It's a 15-minute event. 4 rounds, 3 minutes on, 1 minute off. 25 calorie row each, 2 rowers going. You can have 2 guys, 2 girls, male, female, whatever you want. 24-person synchro lateral burpee over the worm. Max rep worm clean and jerks in the remaining time. The workout ends at the completion of 30 worm clean and jerks. So I kept the ground overhead stimulus. I kept the forced sprint stimulus. Like you have to really go. 25 calories on the rower. If you switch once is probably going to take about 40 seconds. You're going to be really getting after it. 24-person burpees is about 45 seconds. So you're having around 90 seconds to work through your worm clean and jerks. You can do a worm clean and jerk for teams that are very proficient, probably every 4 to 5 seconds. For teams that are less efficient, anywhere from 6 to 10, 12 seconds, right? And that's why I didn't want to make this an AMRAP and punish the best teams and make it for max reps. The workout ends at 30 clean and jerks.
Mhm.
You run through the finish line. Obviously, this is one I would. This was created with me just doing repetition math, which sometimes holds well and sometimes does not. I would love this to be tested and final tweaks to be made. My thought with this test is it's doable in 3, but there are teams that could potentially do this in 2 rounds.
Mhm.
To which case I would probably raise the clean and jerk number to 40
Mhm.
or something like that. What are your thoughts on this workout?
I mean, I like it. I think that like the sprint effect will definitely start slowing down a little bit, and the times estimated will be a little higher every round.
Sure.
But I mean, this embodies a lot more teamwork,
You have a little bit of a recoverability test,
right? And then
right?
like I know this is a second. I always think that the worm is one of the better tools to test teamwork and team communication, which
Mm-hmm.
again, it's only been programmed once this year. It's always a criticism point, so that will give us a second workout with the worm.
Right. It's the worm is programmed once in the whole competition
Right.
for thrusters, which is arguably the easiest movement
Mhm.
next to a push press or a squat, right? It's not hard.
Right.
Um All right, so that was my take on that event. Like I said, I changed this one a lot. We got the rower back in here. I got rid of the bike, introduced the worm, and just made this a much different workout. But I think it tests some other things and has a little bit more teamwork to it. All right, let me do my screen switches here. Event 5 is 3 rounds, 10-minute time cap. Pair 1, this is male female pairs working simultaneously, so it's kind of a continuous piece, which I like. 15 ring muscle ups, split as desired. 9 synchro sandbag cleans with a 150 and 100-pound bag. I don't mind this workout. It will hurt because you will have to go fast. I think all of this hinges on how good you are at muscle ups.
Yeah, I think the only difference I would make is potentially make it 12 and make it synchro ring muscle ups.
Right. So you'll see in my variation, I kind of wasn't sure logistics for synchro ring muscle ups. I don't know what the setup is, and I know that can be hard to accommodate. But I agree. I think, the decent gymnasts will do one set for the guys, one set for the girls.
Mm-hmm.
Probably through at least 2 of the 3 rounds of this, if not all 3. And the 9 synchro sandbag cleans, you don't really have to hammer those very quickly, especially if you're just watching your ring people, right?
Mm-hmm.
So my change to this, 10-minute time cap, 3 rounds for time, pairs working simultaneously, 15 synchro ring and bar muscle ups, 10 synchro sandbag cleans with a 150 and a 125. I had went back and forth in my head briefly about going to 12 sandbag cleans like you did.
No, I did 12 ring muscle ups.
Oh, you did 12. Did you add to the sandbag too?
Mm-mm.
No. So when I added, so I had thought about going 12 sandbag cleans when I added the synchro ring and bar, because that's obviously going to slow them down a
Mm-hmm.
bit. And I just kind of, through thinking it through, doing a little bit of math, I added just 1 rep to the sandbag cleans, but I increased the weight for the female bag.
Mm.
I think a 100-pound bag and a 150 bag for, I just think there's a good bit of disparity between a lot of men and women on that at this point.
Yeah.
I've long, made my athletes use a 125 if I can get my hands on one and if they have one. I just think that mirrors the stimulus of a 150 for most men a lot better if you're not a very strong male athlete who also has very good levers for the sandbag clean.
Mm-hmm.
So, very similar. Obviously, we have more teamwork in the synchro ring and bar muscle ups. It is a good bit of volume at this point for all 4, or for all pairs, so to speak.
Right.
Each pair is doing 45 ring or 45 muscle up variations. 10-minute time cap for this honestly might be a little tight with that added difficulty.
Mm-hmm.
But again, I didn't want to adjust their time caps too much.
Mm-hmm.
So this would be one again that I would want to test to make sure fit the time cap. But again, we're in event 5 now. I'm okay with some people struggling, even more so than I was earlier,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like, we're getting deeper in the test at this point.
Right.
We need separation. We need separators. And I still want this to be an enjoyable, difficult event for the lower 20 teams, so to speak.
Mm-hmm.
And I think at some point it's fair to say too that CrossFitters enjoy doing hard things.
Yeah.
So we should give them hard things to do.
Yeah, I think that like giving them something like that, even it will elevate their training at the gym.
Right. Right. And there are definitely teams in the top 10 to 15 who will just blow the brakes off this workout.
Mm-hmm.
The guy and the girl will go like, the girl will open up with like 8 or something on the rings. The guy will do some bar. They'll switch. They'll finish. The other pair will be done. and they'll move through the workout that way. Maybe they end up going 3 sets on the last round. That's it.
Mm-hmm.
Right. All right. Event. Need to try to not block my camera when I change this stuff. Event 6. Do. 4 rounds in any order, 12-minute time cap, 30 toes to bar, 20 front squats, 185, 125, 45-foot handstand walk. A relay event, yet again.
Mm-hmm.
30 toes to bar, 20 front squats, 45-foot handstand walk. What are your thoughts on this workout?
I would make it synchro pair toes to bars, synchro front squats with a partner, and then split the handstand walks, but make it like 100 feet.
Yeah, 45-foot handstand walk is not a tall ask. Even under, yes, you're going fast with it relay in nature. You're hammering those toe to bar, 20 front squats is difficult.
Right.
But I didn't see anything about mandated 45 unbroken. I looked, but I didn't see anything about minimum distances, mandated things, anything like that. So
Yeah, I would do like sprint still, but synchro, and then I would even go up to 150 feet handstand walk.
yeah, well, you have a 12-minute time cap, so I mean, it's very generous.
If it's one like if it's a top level team, they should attempt to go unbroken on the squats.
Oh, 100%.
Yeah. So that's that.
100%.
If that's what we're banking time for, I don't think this one round would take.
It's not going to take 3 minutes. Maybe.
No, probably like yeah, 3.5. Depends on the how fast the toast bar go.
I mean, I think there's teams that have people who can do all of those rounds sub 3.
Yeah, sorry. If you do the toast bar and the front squats unbroken, that's definitely sub 3.
Even if you go 2 sets on the toe to bar, if you go 20-10,
Mm-hmm.
and then you go unbroken on the front squats, and you have a decent cycle speed, the 45-foot handstand walk, if you go unbroken,
It's like
or even with a
30
quick
to 40
break,
seconds.
yeah, it's 30 to 40 seconds.
Depends if it's also like 45 straight or turnaround.
You got to think 50-foot handstand walk in an EMOM is like, that's not hard to like. You can have athletes do that when they're very much unwell.
Right. For that level of athlete, yeah.
Again, I'd say this is an elite. Like, it's supposed to be hard, right?
Mm-hmm.
All right. I changed this one a lot. 12-minute cap for time. Male, female pair 1, 35 synchro toes to bar. Male, female pair 2, 40-foot handstand walk in 20-foot unbroken sections with 2 pirouettes at the 10-foot mark. Pairs will swap. Pair 2 will do 35 synchro toes to bar. Pair 1 will do a 40-foot handstand walk in 20-foot unbroken sections with 2 pirouettes at the 10-foot mark. Then the team will complete 30 worm push press, 30-foot worm lunge, 20 worm push press, 30-foot worm lunge, 10 push press, 30-foot worm lunge, and cross the finish line for your finale. I know they have a 30-foot section available to lunge because in the intermediate events, there is a 30-foot lunge.
Mm-hmm.
So I made it. The team is all working at the same time. I added a little toe to bar.
Mm-hmm.
I did that because I think 30 would finish quicker than the handstand walk always. I put 2 pirouettes in the handstand walk because I don't think pirouettes are that difficult of a skill at this point for elite athletes. And a 20-foot section is not very far. So you can go 20 foot, do 2 pirouettes, 20 foot, come down, and then do your second 20 foot. Whereas the best teams may try to go unbroken. They may take that quick break and then kick right back up. But then even after you've done that work, you have to come together as a team and you've got to get on that worm and you've got to go. Because you can be ahead getting onto that worm. And if you don't lunge well in 120 or 90-foot section for total, and you don't move the worm well in push press, and you don't have good communication in that kind of finale time frame, the last little bit of this workout, you can get past.
Mm-hmm.
So, what are your thoughts on these adjustments?
I mean, it does make it a little bit of a less sprinty of a workout, which
I
again
think
we've
it's
already. Sorry, go ahead.
no. Go ahead. Finish your thought.
I think we've already had some sprints, so it's not like it's not necessarily a bad thing. It does bring the worm back. It does take the barbell away. So as much as I like the worm, but I don't like it when the barbell is only tested once.
Yes, the barbell would only be used one time for the lifting event.
Yeah, so I would I have mixed emotions about that.
That's fair. That's fair.
Um, I did
I,
like. Sorry, go ahead.
I am definitely a worm heavy team programmer.
Yeah, I'm okay with that, but if the worm's gonna take 50%, then I need 30% with the barbell,
Sure, sure.
right? Like I don't want 10%
So
with the
almost
barbell.
maybe almost in the wall ball event, you change something to have some synchro front squats or something.
Right,
Or
right.
right,
So I would
I
say
could see
like
that.
if the worm
Fair.
has three events, then the barbell should have two, and then one without. Um,
Yeah,
yeah, so like possibly in the instead of wall balls, it would be like synchro thrusters or something.
sure.
Um, but yeah, I mean, I like the spectacle of it. Um, that will basically put them down, back, and then go final one length down based on a 30-foot worm, a 30-foot floor plan, right? So they will
Yep.
go down, back, and down. So
Yeah, yeah. Down back.
spectator wise, it's very friendly still.
Yep.
Um, yeah, I mean, I like it. I like the overload of the upper body here. Um, Given like the handstand walks could affect the push press for sure. That being said, the push press
It's just gonna make it a little more uncomfortable.
right, and the push press is one of the easier movements with the worm. So um, I like it, but as just like my only reservation is the barbell being replaced.
Yeah, yeah, for sure. I think if we go back to this, I don't know if we go thrusters because we have worm thrusters, but I think you could make a strong argument to do a front squat with a lighter weight
Hmm.
or even a dumbbell squat.
Hmm.
I know it's not a barbell, but um, I don't think there's no dumbbells
Right.
um, in my version
Hmm.
of the programming. Um, so yeah, I think that's fair. I knew as I was writing it, I was going worm heavy. Um, but again, like I love the worm for teams.
Yeah,
I just think there's
I
nothing
like
like it.
that. I would just also like the lunges are definitely a teamwork or team communication. The push press is not so much. Like people could mess up and
You
still
can
get
just kind of
through.
get through it.
Right.
Yeah.
Um. So again, I wish there were more events, but yeah, I
Do you think two pirouettes is aggressive for an elite? So two pirouettes for each person. Because I don't, but I'm curious. Are you buffering?
no. I'm trying to. You said four pirouettes per person or two pirouettes per person?
No, it's two pirouettes per person.
Yeah, I
So
mean that's.
do you think like I think
I
it
think
increases the difficulty of the handstand walk to something that feels more substantial than 40 feet.
I think elite level athletes should be able to do that unbroken 20-foot with a pirouette in the middle. That shouldn't be a problem.
Yeah, I mean, I did have the thought in mind to make it a 40-foot unbroken with two pirouettes at the 10 and the 30-foot mark. Um, but again, knowing the number of athletes and the skill disparity probably
Right.
between those athletes, I was
Yeah.
like, well, I don't feel great about doing that.
Right. No, I don't think two per person isn't a lot. I mean, especially like with, I will always refer to the serpentine or
Serpentine.
serpentine course that they had at TFX championships.
Right.
That was way harder than this.
That was way harder than
Way
any
harder.
handstand anything they had of it have in this, and this is the next level of competition,
Right. So
right?
like
They invited the top 5 teams.
right. And those will probably reside within the bottom 10 or 15 teams in the competition.
Potentially, yeah. I
Not all of them. Sorry, I didn't mean to generalize, but like if you have like Invictus coming in or something, that will definitely be on the higher side.
Sure,
Yeah.
sure. I added to the Toda bar as well because I just, you obviously know I'm a big fan of Toda bar,
Hmm.
but there's no GHC sit-ups. There's only 30 Toda bar per person. I I like to challenge the midline a lot,
Hmm.
especially pairing with something with handstand walk. And I just don't like, not that 35 makes a substantial bit of difference versus 30, but there is a little bit. Toda bar are notably harder for a lot of athletes doing them synchro with somebody else if there's a size difference.
Yeah.
So it tests your kind of midline endurance a little bit more. And then obviously some more teamwork. So
Hmm.
obviously, like when I did this, I tried to stay as close to what they had as possible
Right.
because I don't know logistical issues. I don't know equipment availability. I know none of that. I don't know
Hmm.
scheduling. So I tried to keep every time cap the same, all the movements the similar or that could be done with the same apparatuses. I think the biggest liberty I took with that was 2 rowers at a time.
Yeah.
And I don't know if that's feasibly possible for them, but I was like, well, screw it. Um, I'm gonna do it anyways.
Yeah.
So
No, I mean, and again, like this is more of like this is how we imagine the test could be.
right.
Um, it's not that again, we are not saying we know better. We're not saying like we're just saying like if it were up to us, this was what we would have done.
Yeah, my goal, I just when I saw the workouts, I just from my perspective as a coach and a programmer, and
You
again,
just saw some stuff that could be done in a different way.
I just saw
Eh,
some things missing.
right, and you could complete the test in our opinion in general, but to make it more deliverable to higher level teams without missing the point of including a large number of teams as well as different levels. But at the end of the day, it is possibly the highest level in-person competition. Beside it is the highest level competition beside the games that is in person. So theoretically speaking, it should have a similar flavor to a semifinal from years before.
Exactly. And I think we've been going for a while. I know we both have things to do, but I don't want to derail us too much, but I think higher level competition in CrossFit has kind of lost its way. If you look back at regional events, the super regional events for not only the teams but the individuals,
Hmm.
and then you compare a lot of those events to semifinals and regionals in the last 3-ish years, it's not that it's not testing for the fittest, because it is, but it just feels like we've just pulled back on the difficulty or the loading or the demand, and we've just used a lot more basic movements that everybody can do in the gym and a lot more machines, and it's not to say that it's right or wrong. It's in my I mean, as a coach, my job is to prepare people for what the competitions are testing,
Right.
right? And there's always the unknown and unknowable variance to that, but I think we could not return to how things were before, but look back at history and realize what we had seen athletes were capable of 7 to 10 years ago now, and maybe not be afraid to take the gloves off a little bit as programmers.
Do you think that what is happening skewed the evolution curve of the athletes for the past 5 years?
100%. 100%.
Do you have a potential theory on why the programming took a little detour?
Um, not really. I mean, you could look back and say things really started to change when Greg started to make changes to the media, and then obviously when he left in 2020 and he sold the business and all those things. But I don't necessarily know that. I mean, Dave was still there and Boz was still there, and they've. So I don't really know, but it seems, if we just go back and look, like I said, if you go back and look at 16, 7, 15, 16, 7, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, we were asking athletes at the semifinal level, we were asking a lot of them. And we were asking a lot of them in the open too.
That was 425 deadlifts, right? That was in semifinal or regionals.
405,
405.
405 with 120 GHDs, 28 deadlifts or 21 deadlifts. It was 7 at a time. It was 3 rounds maybe. Yeah, it was 3 rounds. So it's 21 deadlifts at 405. And um, when was the last time CrossFit programmed a 405-pound deadlift in a competition? When was the last time anybody did that?
The latter, that was at 2019
Yeah.
at the
So when was
games.
the last time it was in a Metcon?
Oh, yeah. I mean,
Like
yeah.
exactly. That's what I'm saying. Like I just heavy thruster variance and like I just think I don't know. It's just changed, and I don't. It's I just don't think from a global perspective, it's necessarily been a change for the good.
Maybe less fun to watch and less fun to execute.
I think less challenging, so therefore less entertaining for the fans, and I think it's not made athletes truly understand the breadth of physical capacity that is necessary for them to compete at that level.
Hmm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, deficit. I mean, the teams back in those days, even at the regionals and the super regions, had deficit strict handstand push-ups, heavy hang power snatches, heavy hang snatch, like the 6-person worm, legless. Like I just feel like and there's some things that have still shined through. We had heavy dumbbell bench in the last couple of years. We've had the 90-pound and the 60-pound dumbbell snatches and things like that. But I just think there's a lot more. And again, I don't know if it's equipment limitations. I don't know if it's budget limitations to get the equipment out there with sponsors and like all these different things. I don't know any of those things, but I
Hmm.
think you can, with the pirouettes or the legless or things like that, like there's ways you can,
Things that won't necessarily require more equipment or resources or time or anything like that.
right, to allow athletes to show that breadth of capacity. Yeah. Yeah. I don't
Yeah.
know if you agree with most of that or,
Yeah.
yeah,
I agree.
it's just different. So that's our take, or well, rather that's my take, not Mahmoud's. I will not attach his name to that, but
I mean,
hopefully he would pass. Other than the barbell change, he would agree with them.
yeah.
So that's our take on if we were in charge
Hmm.
of writing the elite team workouts for the TFX Invitational. Um, that being said, we obviously aren't in charge. This is not meant to be criticism. This is meant to just be critiquing and giving our opinions as professional coaches in the space. I hope everybody who goes out to TFX in Oklahoma City has a wonderful time. I hope they enjoy the workouts that they have prepared for you. I hope it's a great competition and goes well for everybody. And you will see both Mahmoud and I's face there. So, because
Hmm.
we will be there coaching athletes.
Yep.
Cool.
Come say hi.
All right. I'm going to wrap this one up just with that since this is a kind of one off. As always, though, please like, subscribe, shoot us a comment, shoot us an Instagram message. We want to do more podcasts and things that the people want to see. And if we don't know what you want to see, it's hard for us to know.
Hmm.
So, with that, thanks for watching, everybody.